All right, so today we're going to dive into some pretty futuristic stuff.
Oh,
AI stuff specifically.
okay, cool.
Google's been up to some pretty interesting things lately. And we've got some sources about AI that can design computer chips
Real?
and even like summarize information like they're your own personal brainiac sidekick.
Oh, wow. That's wild. Yeah, it's pretty mind-boggling when you really think about it,
Yeah.
We're talking about AI that doesn't just use technology, but actually designs the technology itself.
Exactly. So let's start with this alpha chip thing.
Yeah.
This isn't like some far-off concept. This is happening right now.
Right.
This AI is already designing the hardware that powers our devices.
And the thing is, chip design is so complex, particularly this thing called chip floor planning.
Okay.
Imagine having to arrange like millions of these tiny transistors, the little building blocks of a chip, in the most efficient way possible.
Right.
Even for like a really experienced engineer, it's a super difficult task.
It sounds like one of those crazy difficult puzzles, but like on a microscopic level.
Exactly.
So how does this alpha chip even begin to do that?
So that's where the learning part of AI comes in.
Okay.
Alpha Chip was trained on this massive data set of chip designs, and it learned what works and what doesn't. But it's not just like copying those old designs, it's actually coming up with totally new solutions.
Oh, wow.
And they're better than what human engineers can come up with,
Really?
both in how efficient they are and how well they perform.
So it's already smarter than us, basically.
Well, in this area, it seems like it, yeah.
And the crazy part is, this alpha chip is already being used by companies like Samsung
Yeah, I heard that.
in their manufacturing. So some of the stuff we use every day might already have AI-designed chips in it.
It's kind of a trip, isn't it?
It's kind of freaky.
It really makes you wonder, like, if AI can outperform us in something as complex as chip design, what other industries could it completely change?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And, like, what happens to those jobs, Are we talking about AI just helping people out, or are we talking about something much bigger where it takes over completely?
Yeah, it's exciting, but it's also a little bit scary to think about.
For sure.
But on a lighter note, let's switch gears for a second, talk about this other Google AI tool, Notebook LM.
Okay.
This one's all about information overload, which I think we can all relate to these days.
Totally, yeah.
Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in articles and research papers and videos?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And you just wish someone could just like read it all for you and tell you the important stuff.
Yeah, like a shortcut.
Exactly. And that's what this Notebook LM is trying to do.
It's like having a personal assistant, but for information overload.
Yeah, so it's like having a personal research assistant who can go through tons of data and give you the SparkNotes version.
Yeah, that's a simple way to put it, but yeah, basically.
So like I could take a video lecture, upload it, and this Notebook LM could give me a summary.
Exactly. And it can highlight the most important points.
Wow.
And it can even make a conversation between two experts discussing the content.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a pretty neat way to like really get into the material,
It's like Cliff's Notes, but for like everything?
Right.
That'd be so useful for students or researchers, anyone who has to go through a ton of info really fast.
Oh, totally. And it's not just about summarizing either.
Okay.
What makes this Notebook LM different is it uses Google's Gemini AI, which is built for like really advanced language processing. So it doesn't just repeat words and phrases. It actually understands the content.
So it gets the context and all the little nuances.
Exactly. It can figure out the main arguments, connect different ideas, even point out any biases or inconsistencies it sees in the material.
Wow, that's actually pretty amazing. Makes you wonder, though.
What's that?
If we're relying on AI to do all the hard work of thinking and understanding for us,
Yeah.
does that make us kind of lazy? Like, are we going to forget how to think for ourselves?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Technology can be a blessing and a curse, right?
Totally.
On one hand, it can help us do more, free up our time and brain power. But on the other hand,
We become too reliant on it.
exactly. And we might lose some of those skills if we're not careful.
True. It makes you wonder about the long-term effects.
Yeah.
Like, if we outsource all our thinking to AI, what happens to our own ability to think critically, to tell what's true from what's not,
Absolutely. It really highlights how important information literacy is becoming, especially now with all this AI-generated content floating around. We've got to learn how to navigate this new world and be savvy consumers of information.
So we can't just blindly trust everything an AI tells us, right?
Exactly. A little skepticism never hurts.
Definitely. We have to remember AI is just a tool.
That's a good way to put it.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Right.
It all comes down to us using it the right way.
Totally. Speaking of using AI wisely,
Yeah.
you mentioned algorithmic clickbait earlier.
Oh, yeah. And it reminded me of that Aubrey de Grey video.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. For those who haven't seen it, Aubrey de Grey is a big name in longevity research.
Yeah, he's really passionate about fighting aging.
Oh, totally. He believes that with the right scientific discoveries, humans could live way longer than we do now.
Like maybe even forever.
Yeah, so in this video, de Grey's talking about this groundbreaking research his team did.
Right.
Thousands of mice, a huge budget, and some wild scientific methods.
Like, what was it called? Heterochronic parabiosis?
Yeah, that's it. Basically, they're linking the circulatory systems of two different organisms.
This is a super interesting procedure with a long history.
So anyway, the title of this video is AI and Longevity Myths, Groundbreaking Anti-Aging Research Explained.
Catchy title for sure.
And naturally, anyone who's into AI and living longer would click on that, right? Of course, because who isn't interested in living longer?
Exactly. But here's the thing. The video itself didn't really mention AI at all in the actual study.
Oh, wow. So it's like a classic bait and switch.
Totally. They used AI to get people to watch, even though it wasn't really accurate.
And that's what's so sneaky about this algorithmic clickbait.
It tricks you.
It preys on our curiosity, our desire for those easy answers.
And then we end up wasting time on useless information.
Exactly. It's like those misleading headlines you see everywhere.
You won't believe what happens next.
Right. Promising shocking secrets.
But then you click and it's nothing.
Just a bunch of fluff.
And this all brings us back to a key point about AI and creating content.
Okay.
Just because AI can write a sentence that's grammatically correct and sounds good doesn't mean it's true.
That's a good point.
We can't forget to be careful,
Right.
especially online. We can't just believe everything we read.
Do you research, cross-check your sources? Don't fall for those crazy headlines that sound too good to be true.
Trust but verify.
Exactly.
So this Notebook LM thing can handle like a crazy amount of information, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just summarizing like one little article.
No, it can handle a lot more than that.
How much can it take?
Well, right now, Notebook LM can handle up to 50 different sources in a single notebook.
50.
Yeah, and it can process something like 500,000 words.
500,000 words. What is that, like a whole library?
Pretty much, it's like condensing a small library into something you can actually get through.
That's kind of wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder,
What's that?
if you're not actually reading all that stuff yourself, are you really learning it?
That's the million-dollar question right there.
Right.
Are we using AI to make us smarter or just lazier?
Like, are we just getting the Spark Notes version of everything?
It all comes down to how we use these tools, I think.
True. But let's be optimistic for a second.
Okay.
If AI can help us cut through all the noise and get to the good stuff faster, isn't that a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine being able to read tons of research papers in like an hour.
Or like understand a complicated technical document without needing a PhD.
Exactly. The potential is huge.
It'd be like having a superpower.
Kind of, but we can't forget about the responsibility that comes with that power.
Right. We still need to think for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AI can be a powerful tool, but it shouldn't do all the thinking for us.
Well said. So we've talked about a lot today, from AI designing computer chips to AI summarizing information like it's nobody's business.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. And it seems like we're just at the beginning of this whole AI thing.
Oh, definitely. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
So to our listeners out there, here's something to think about.
Okay, shoot.
As AI gets better and better at understanding and using information, what's going to happen to good old-fashioned human curiosity and creativity?
That's a great question.
Will those things still matter in the future? Or will AI have all the answers?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
That's all the time we have for today, but join us next time when we'll dive into another fascinating corner of the tech world.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep those brains buzzing.
And don't let the robots take over.
See you next time.
Okay, so today we are diving deep into some seriously cool AI stuff.
Yeah, definitely cool.
We're talking AI that designs the very chips that power it. Google DeepMind's Alpha chip.
It's really changing the game. You know, we've seen AI do incredible things.
Right.
Like AlphaGo, AlphaZero, beating champions at Go and chess.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is AI taking on real-world engineering problems.
Like designing chips.
Designing chips, exactly.
And the way they describe this feedback loop in the research, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, so basically the AI designs a chip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it tests it.
Okay.
Sees how it performs. And then all that data from the performance, it gets fed back into the AI system.
Because it's learning.
It's learning, it's refining its own design, so it goes back and designs an even better chip, and then it just keeps going.
So potentially, Could we get to a point where AI is basically the main driver behind chip design?
I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
And, what's exciting is what this could mean.
Yeah.
Faster, more efficient chips. Think about smartphones, laptops, self-driving cars, even scientific research.
It's pretty amazing. It's a little unnerving, too, to think about, right? Like this technology, it could already be in the devices that we use every day.
It's true. It's true. But like with any powerful tool, it's all about how we use it. And
Exactly.
that's where human oversight comes in. It's not about replacing human ingenuity. It's about making it better.
Yeah, working together.
Exactly.
And this creative potential that we're seeing with AI, it's not limited to just chip design. That's what's so cool. Our source material also dives into AI-driven filmmaking,
Yeah.
which is a whole other
A whole other world.
yeah, and we're going to get into that in our next deep dive. It really is amazing to see AI being used for art like filmmaking.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Mm.
And this filmmaker, ex-Jeff Synthesize, he's really going all in on it.
Yeah, he's not holding back.
No, he's using all kinds of AI tools.
Yeah.
Runway ML for the visuals,
Right.
culling AI for like the dialogue, even the scripts.
Yeah.
Then you've got Luma Labs for bumping up the video quality, Topaz Labs for special effects.
It's like a whole AI filmmaking toolkit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, these tools, they're not just for the big studios anymore. Anyone can use them.
It's really changing who gets to tell stories.
Exactly.
And the source material actually included this clip from one of his films, The Paperclip Maximizer. Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did, yeah. I thought it was really interesting visually.
Yeah.
You could tell it was made with AI, There's
Yeah.
a certain quality to it.
Yeah, it's different.
But, like, the overall effect is still really cool.
Yeah. What'd you think of the ending?
Oh, man, that ending. It gave me chills.
So, I mean, what do you think this means for the future of filmmaking?
I think we're just scratching the surface.
Mm.
Imagine a world where any filmmaker, no matter how much money they have, can make any movie they can dream up.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
We could see all these crazy experimental films, independent stuff, stories we've never even heard before.
And it's not just about who's making the films, it's how they're made. Like, AI could change everything.
Oh, absolutely. The way stories are told, the way things look on screen, even like what kinds of movies we think of as genres.
Yeah, what do you think is like the most exciting possibility?
That's tough. I think for me, it's this storytelling. Like, can AI help us tell stories in ways we haven't even thought of yet?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's wild to think about AI changing how we make movies.
It really is. But there's something else we're talking about today that's maybe even more, I don't know, personal.
Yeah.
How we learn, how we deal with all this information out there.
Oh, right, with Google's Notebook LM.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine like an AI assistant that helps you make sense of it all.
Yeah, instead of us having to read a million things.
Exactly. And it's not just reading anymore. It's, watching, listening. Notebook LM, it can understand YouTube videos now.
Beyond just the transcript.
Beyond the transcript. It's like it's actually watching the video and learning
Wow.
and connecting the dots between different things. Like we used it to look at that alpha chip stuff.
Right.
And it also brought up some interesting points from a YouTube video about longevity research.
Oh, wow. Connecting those two. And we actually have that clip. Let's hear how Notebook LM summarizes all of that. That was pretty impressive. It got the key points from both, even highlighted how AI could be impacting both things.
It is impressive. But, and this is important, remember how that YouTube video had that title, like Groundbreaking Anti-Aging Research Explained?
Right.
The actual research didn't even use AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even AI, it can get tricked by a catchy headline.
Okay, that's a good point. Like, it's a good reminder that we can't just blindly trust these AI tools,
We
right?
can't, like, no matter how smart they get, we've got to think critically. We need to evaluate the information ourselves.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's not the final answer.
Right? Notebook LM, it's powerful, but it's still just a tool. It's up to us to use it the right way.
It's been so interesting, this whole conversation. AI designing chips, AI making movies, AI changing how we learn.
And this is just the beginning.
Exactly. So as you're going about your day, using your phone, watching something, maybe even learning something new, think about it. AI might be more involved than you realize.
It's a future full of potential, exciting, a little bit scary, but it's definitely something we should all be paying attention to.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it right here in our future deep dives.